new Bentley Continental GT. This is a car I've been wanting to drive for a while now because I really enjoyed my time on Carnut.kiwi testing the previous generation Continental GT. That was a very memorable car and left a lasting impression on me, as it must have done for many other people, because nearly 70,000 examples of Continental GTs have found their way into garages and driveways of discerning owners all over the world. But this third generation Continental GT is another thing altogether. The one word that comes to my mind when I look at the new Continental GT is potent. It's noticeably lower, longer and more athletic looking. It projects potential. The first edition car that I'm sitting in comes with the lower grills rendered in brightwork, so it's got that lovely chrome matrix grille to the lower parts of the grille as well as the upper radiator grille. Also on the sequin blue example are 22-inch open-spoked alloy wheels. Now these wheels are hand polished because the spokes have a kind of a 3D polished effect to them, and no machine can really do the job quite as well as someone can by hand. Down the flanks of the car you'll find a subtle number 12 incorporated into the wing vents, showing you that this is the premium engine. Towards the rear of the vehicle, you've got those beautiful muscular rear haunches that feature this breathtakingly crisp line. Now that line is made possible by the fact that this car is rendered in aluminium. All the panels on the outside of this car are aluminium except for the boot lid, which is composite because that's where the aerials and the GPS receivers reside. Now the aluminium panels are formed with a gas pressurized system. So normally panels are cold stamped around bucks that form the shape of the panels, but in this instance what they've done is they've heated the panels up to 500 degrees centigrade, and then they've gas pressurized them around those bucks, and that's given you just such an extra level of detail and like a razor sharp perfection that you can't get through the cold stamping process. Now at the rear of the car there's also huge elliptical exhaust tips, and they mirror the design of the elliptical taillights above them. Now those taillights are LED, but even they are overshadowed by just the sheer opulence of the headlights. Around the outside of the 82 LEDs that make up the headlamps are these beautiful cut crystal reflectors. It's just Bentley, isn't it? I mean, who else but Bentley would put such detail and such love and care and effort into getting something so perfect? And of course, it's all in the best possible taste. This new W12 engine is a substantial reworking of the W12 that replaces. It now has direct and port injection, a dual mass flywheel and 2 twin scroll turbochargers. Now what does all that mean for someone sitting where I'm sitting behind the steering wheel? It means power, and lots of it. 467 kilowatts. Now that's 626 brake horsepower. That is a substantial amount of power. Torque is 900 newton meters, and that's on a beautifully flat plateau all the way from 1350 right the way up to 4,500 RPM. And what that all means when you're on the road is that you have performance available to you all the time, regardless of road speed, engine speed, or what gear you're in. Everywhere you go in the rev range, there's a significant amount of urge to propel you down the road just as quickly as you'd like. It delivers a very satisfying, never-ending supply of power, and driving it, you feel like anything's possible. If you want to go quickly and be fast and furious, you can. Or if you just want to waft along, you can also do that as well. transmission for the new Continental GT is a new ZF 8-speed dual clutch affair. Now, I think it's a very good partner for the car because, again, it has a lot of breadth in its ability. You can get very crisp upshifts, which are very urgent and kind of percussive, and it's a very satisfying feeling to feel the push back in the seat as you pound up through the gears under hard acceleration. And when you're downshifting through the paddles again, you get this lovely little crackle through the exhaust pipes, which again is a very addictive sound and something that really enthuses the sporting driver to keep pressing on. But at the other end of the spectrum, you can just let the transmission work seamlessly in the background, so it'll deliver lovely fluid shifts as a regular automatic would that you're not even conscious of. The other feature this 8-speed dual clutch transmission has is a feature called sailing mode, which essentially disconnects the transmission from the driveline and lets the car coast down the road. Sailing mode, combined with the very clever cylinder deactivation in the engine, which takes out a number of the cylinders when they're not required, helps this W12 Bentley achieve an extra urban fuel rating of 8.9 litres per 100 kilometres. That's extremely frugal for a 12-cylinder engine, 8.9 litres per 100 k's. This new Continental GT will accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.7 seconds, and top speed is rated at 333 kilometers an hour. So performance is more than adequate. One of the things I'm really enjoying about this new Continental GT is it has a very broad range of abilities. So for instance, in sport mode, not only does the throttle response crispen up, but the shift pattern changes quite markedly. So you do get a far more performance-oriented drive in sport than you would in, say, Bentley or comfort mode. Now in those latter two modes, the Continental GT becomes a very tranquil and placid partner to journey in. Continental GT is all-wheel drive, but it's an adaptive all-wheel drive system, so for the majority of the time the car is purely rear-wheel drive. Then when it decides it needs extra traction and help from the front wheels, it can dial up a maximum of 38% of torque delivery to the front wheels. Now that changes when you're in sport mode. There's a limit of 17% of the engine's power available to the front axle. The car is always a rear-wheel drive biased car. Bentley engineers have decided that yes, if a driver's in a sporting frame of mind, then they're probably wanting to enjoy this chassis in its purest form. So having that largely rear-wheel drive bias allows a driver to really come through a corner, put your accelerator down and let the back just bring the nose in tighter to the apex and really sort of slice through that corner in a really satisfying way. The fact that the engine now sits lower and further back in the chassis has given the vehicle a more balanced feel. It's a Grand Tourer designed to cover landscape with ease, with impressive performance everywhere you go. Helping the Continental GT even more with cornering, it has brake-based torque vectoring. So as it comes into a corner, it'll detect how the car should be best positioned for that corner, and it'll brake individual wheels to help that car settle into the corner and maintain a nice predictable arc through the turn. Again, another really great enhancement of the vehicle that benefits the driver in a sporting frame of mind. But if you're a driver that's not in a sporting frame of mind, you can be quite sure that the Continental GT will take care of business for you. You can relax, allowing the systems to go about their various duties, apportioning power and brakes wherever they see fit to make sure that your journey is as comfortable and smooth and quiet and unflustered as possible. Brakes, they deserve a special mention in the Continental GT. The discs fitted to the front of this vehicle are the largest ever fitted to a passenger vehicle, and they're gripped by 10-pot calipers, 4-pot calipers out the back. It's all part of Bentley specifying this vehicle to give drivers an enormous range and breadth of ability, and to give them the peace of mind that whatever the situation, the vehicle has systems, technology and general dynamics on board that'll keep things as calm, predictable, unflustered, yet exciting when you want it, as possible. The car features air suspension. It's a 3-chamber design, which, coupled with an active anti-roll bar arrangement that allows the anti-roll bars to adjust according to the demands of the road and which settings the driver has got the car set up for, again provides a huge range of capability for the Continental GT. So you can have that traditional Bentley floaty, pillowy, beautifully luxurious ride, or you can harden things up and have a firmer, sportier, more involving drive come through the chassis. Regardless of what the road surface throws at you, and around New Zealand it can be pretty rough and dodgy sometimes, the Bentley just soaks it up in its stride. It never fails to impress. Look, we'd all love to be driving on sweeping autobahns at 200 kilometres an hour, but that in New Zealand is not our reality. And what I'm finding is that this vehicle just feels so at home on New Zealand roads, which, let's face it, are pretty tiny, tight and twisty. But the car, although it's physically quite large, never feels a handful. It never feels hard to handle or out of its depth in these tight, twisty roads of ours. Now, the interior of the GT, where do we start? There's a sense of occasion about this car. Bentley rotating display, this 12.3-inch retina quality touchscreen here that provides all the communication with the car and its systems, yet can be rotated around to provide 3 analog dials for a far more classic and restrained dashboard. It's just breathtaking. Similarly, these seats, they're 20-way electrically adjustable, they have heating in them, they have ventilation in them, they have a massaging function, but more than that, they have this beautiful, in this instance in this Mulliner spec car, this quilting, this diamond in diamond quilting. Now, each of those diamonds has 712 stitches in them. Wow. What it says to me is that although this car is extremely technological, it's all put together by people who really understand what a Bentley should be. There's a palpable sense of humanity in here, and I think that's, to me, what sets Bentley apart from other vehicles in this area of the market. It's that unwavering attention to detail and that search for the best. It just feels right. The specification in this car includes a head-up display with speed sign recognition, adaptive cruise control, blind spot warnings, lane keep assists, all the things that will help make your driving that much more relaxing, that much more secure, that much safer. The dashboard's configurable to your desires. You can have your navigation map set up inside the center of the display, or you can have it occupying the right hand side and the center of the display. There's lots of configurations you can do here, and you can really customize your Continental GT to suit your purpose, to suit your frame of mind, to suit the mood you're in. This car, to me, embodies a unique combination of attributes. It's the technical, It's the craftsmanship, it's the beauty, it's the restraint, it's the elegance, it's the luxury, it's the power, it's the sporting potential. It's all those things wrapped up behind that lovely chrome matrix grille with that winged B logo above it. It's a very special vehicle, I can't emphasize that enough. And really, part of the fact that it makes it so special is the ability to customize it the way you want when you have it built, and no one does that quite like Bentley does. It's a very special vehicle indeed.